Hey everybody, it's JJ Talks, and it's Thursday on the Breakfast Club, and I am Pacific time, so yes, it is still Thursday, and I am posting this on Thursday, I swear to God. So my summer has been kind of a mixture of like doing absolutely nothing and then doing like a shit ton of stuff, so I apologize that like my schedule's been kind of crazy. We are about to move my Sarge into his new apartment this weekend, so we've been like buying mattresses and all this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder than I did in my last video because apparently my microphone has grown less sensitive over the years, just like me, and people had difficulty hearing me last time, and yeah, my volume was pretty low, so I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder, and if it's not loud enough, I'm going to put this in iMovie and turn it up. Okay, so I want to talk about PC and being politically correct and what it means to be politically correct and why I choose to be politically correct a lot of the time, and some of the implications surrounding like the idea of political correctness and like some of the false dichotomies I see when it comes to political correctness. Okay, so the first thing I want to establish is that I'm very pro free speech. Like I am a pro free speech feminist, and like when I say that, I have feminists get mad at me, and then I have anti-feminists get mad at me, and they'll be like, "Well, feminism is inherently contradictory to free speech," which I don't really agree with. So, okay, but yeah, no, I think free speech is super important. I made a whole video about that. It's on my channel. I think it's the most recent video. You can go watch it if you want to. But I kind of wanted to establish that as like the baseline for this conversation. I am against forcing people to speak a certain way, or I'm against anything that involves inhibiting like free speech, obviously. But that doesn't mean that I don't think being politically correct is the best way to go, because generally I do. And politically correct has turned into such like a controversial term. Like it's turned into like, oh, you're politically correct. Like that means that you're like you're an SJW and you like hate free speech. But you can, with your own autonomy, choose to be politically correct. Like it's not illegal to cheat on your spouse, but it's kind of like that doesn't mean like out of spite because people say cheating is bad, you should like cheat on your spouse. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's kind of what happened is like people feel such resentment towards speech policing that they want to like kind of rebel and kind of be like a kid. Like you tell your kid not to jump on the couch, they jump on the couch. You'd say you're not allowed to say this word, and then everyone like it makes this whole community where like they say the N word all the time, like it's their favorite fucking thing to say. And and I think that that's everyone's fault. I think it's the fault of the people who are trying to shut down free speech because you've kind of created this monster, but it's also like these people's fault for not being self-aware enough to be like, I disagree with you, but I also want to make the personal decision not to say something that's going to, hurt somebody else. And, you don't have to live your life to like make people feel comfortable. And like, I understand that, but like, when it comes to the N-word, for example, like, I don't think I've ever said that word in my life, ever. And it's like, it's a disgusting word to me, I guess. Like, it just makes me feel sick, like, and seeing, like, my friends who are black, growing up, see kids being called that by adults, seeing, like, articles on Facebook where, like, about Black Lives Matter or something, and everyone's like, oh, these, the N-word there, and like, I hear it all the time. I hear it directed at people that I love, my friends, a guy that I dated in the past, like, I heard people say to him, and it was just like, why would I want to? Like, why would I want to say that if it, like, it causes so much pain and destruction? Like, why would I, and then some people make the argument, well, like, you're giving words too much power, but unfortunately, words have power. It's just kind of the way it is, and I don't think that I give the word power by not saying it. And if that's your opinion, like, I kind of understand where you're coming from there, but, like, I don't say it because it's hurtful, and, you know, I don't want to say it. Same reason I don't say any other racial slur or slurs related to the LGBTQ community. I try to avoid completely because, you know, they hurt people, and I don't want to hear. I don't have someone that I love hear these things that have been used to abuse them and hurt them come out of my mouth, you know. And it doesn't, like, it's no skin off my back not to say the N-word. Like, it doesn't, like, cause me, like, difficulty in my life, so, like, why wouldn't I? I mean, like, if I'm quoting someone, or, you know, like, I think I was in a play one time where I said it, but, like, you know, like, that kind of, like, I mean, it's not like the word itself, the pronunciation, like, I physically can't say. It's like, you know, I'm not going to use that, like, in a conversation. Like, that's to me, that's terrible. And, like, what I feel like is there's this false dichotomy that's either, like, you have to be politically correct 100% and anti-free speech, and you have to force everyone to talk the way that you want them to, or you have to be saying the N-word every other 5 seconds, and if you even say anything that's remotely politically correct, then all of a sudden you're in this category. You know what I mean? Like, and it sucks because, like, I'm pro-free speech, but also I make the decision as a human being with morals to say that, you know, if it makes someone feel more comfortable for me to use this phrase instead of this one, why the fuck not? Like, why? Like, it doesn't, I don't know. And it's just, you know, the false dichotomy is the most frustrating part about it, right? It's because, you know, and I see my friends, like, I have friends in the anti-SJW community who use, like, these words and phrases and stuff, and, like, I think they feel like they have to kind of just, like, stick it to the SJWs, but, like, you know, you can, I'm trying to think of the word, like, independent, individual, like, you don't have to be a part of a flock. You can be your own human being who makes your own decisions about, like, what you're gonna say and how you're gonna say it. You don't have to subscribe to either of these extremes, and I think that's important to note, you know. And, you know, Sarge and I were talking the other day about a George Carlin skit where they, where he was talking about basically, like, political correctness and the evolution of, like, the term shell shock to battle fatigue to PTSD, and we kind of got into this nice conversation about, like, how that wasn't necessarily a thing that was, you know, technically PTSD is the correct, politically correct, and in my opinion, scientifically correct term. And, you know, okay. Shell shock. Like, weird. I was basically trying to explain that, like, it evolved, you know, maybe in some people's eyes to be more politically correct from shell shock to PTSD, but PTSD is more accurate for this phenomenon and the symptoms because you can have PTSD and not be a veteran and never have been in battle. You can have PTSD and be a victim of a violent crime or abuse or whatever. And so, like, in some ways, the politically correct thing can also be more scientifically accurate, you know, more socially accurate. Like, when I hear people say hermaphrodite when they are referring to intersex people or people with, like, genitals that aren't, like, 100% male or female, like, your reproductive organs aren't 100% male or female, they'll say hermaphrodite. Well, hermaphrodites actually can't exist in humans because a hermaphrodite basically means that you have a full male reproductive system and a full female reproductive system. Like, that's what a hermaphrodite is. Like, it exists in, like, animals that aren't, you know, mammals. Like, it's intersex. It's a scientifically correct term. But people are like, oh, no, it's the politically correct term. I'm going to call them hermaphrodites. You know what I mean? And it's just, like, it's frustrating because a lot of the time the use of, like, you know, strategically, politically incorrect terminology often, you know, like, exists under the guise of being socially aware and being self-aware and being aware of your language. Like, the people that I see use it are saying, oh, I'm challenging the current system in place by talking like this, like I'm fucking Eminem or something. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a petty rebellion against this, you know, everything has to be a politically correct culture that some of society lives in. And I don't even want to say a lot of society, because, like, do you see our fucking president? Like, I don't know. And I think it's just a rebellion against that, which, you know, makes sense that that happens. But if you're in this group, like, can you at least acknowledge that, like, I, as a human being, am allowed to be politically correct without, like, inhibiting anyone else's free speech. Like, I do it to make the people that I love and care about comfortable, and to, in my opinion, make the conversations that I'm having more accurate. So those are just some of the things that I've been thinking about. And I'm trying to think of some more examples, but I'm just kind of like, you know, they've, you know, you don't say someone is autistic anymore. You say they're on the spectrum. I'm pretty sure that that is the most up to date version. And that's because if you just, you know, using the word autistic implies that everyone on the autism spectrum has the exact same, you know, personality, symptoms, and stuff. And there are people who are completely different. There are friends that I have who are on the spectrum who I didn't even know they were on the spectrum. And then there are some people who can't function on their own, like dress themselves, you know, and those are two completely different, like, things. And, you know, saying on the spectrum is more accurate. And it just, like, it doesn't, political correctness, whatever you want to call it. I don't really like that term, because I guess it has the connotation of censorship, when, in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily have to. And I don't think that those two things have to be mutually exclusive. And I think that that's just something to think about. I think that there's nothing wrong that I don't want to say the N-word or any other racial slur or any other slur in general. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong that I go out of my way to, like, you know, figure out what makes my friends most comfortable when I talk to them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's just how I feel. And that's my personal decision, and I think it makes me a better person. And I'm not saying it makes me a better person than you, but I think that my best self is the version of myself that goes out of her way to do this sort of thing. It makes me happiest. It makes the people around me happiest. It makes my relationships better, and that's how I'm gonna be. Like, it's no hindrance on my life. I don't feel like I'm being censored in any way. So, like, just let me be. You know, I'm gonna let you say all the horrible shit you say. Let me say all the not horrible shit that I say. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that? That's just. Sorry if this was rambly. All my videos are rambly, but it's something, like, important I wanted to think about. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.